Hey guys, welcome to Motorize. My name is Amit, and this, as you know, is the new Harley-Davidson X440, which is going to democratize Harley-Davidson in India. Developed jointly by Hero and Harley, designed at CIT, the tower of which you can see in the background, and in Milwaukee also. So the Harley engineers and Hero engineers, designers have come together and brought to life this. This motorcycle is exclusive to India, won't be sold in any other countries as of now. Now, there have been walkarounds of this motorcycle, and a lot of the stuff that you want to know about this motorcycle is already out. I'm pretty sure that you want to know about the performance first. So let's talk about the engine, chassis and performance first, and then I'll get to the design, styling, ergonomics and the other aspects that you would probably want to know about. So the engine here is a 440cc single two-wall air and oil cooled unit, and as you can see here, there is a radiator, so the heat management is pretty good. And as you would imagine, with a bigger capacity, the power output here is also very healthy, 27 HP at 6000 rpm, 38 newton meters at 4000 rpm. Of that torque, which is significantly more than the other motorcycles in the segment, which is the classic 350 to start with. That's the primary target of this motorcycle. The torque is significantly better here, and 90% of that 38 newton meters of torque is available from as low as 2000 rpm, and that makes it very tractable. So tractability here is the big selling point, and in that sense, let me first start off with the tractability of this motorcycle. And in the sixth gear, so there are six gears here. In the sixth gear, you would be able to ride it at 48 kilometers per hour, which is pretty good, pretty tractable, and it's at about 1900 rpm that you'll get all that torque flowing in the fifth gear from 40 kilometers per hour, in the fourth gear from 35 kilometers per hour, and in the third gear at 30 kilometers per hour. So the tractability is very good, and that's really something that people who are getting into the cruiser segment, retro segment, are looking for. In terms of power, it has about 7 HP more than the Royal Enfield Classic 350. It has 38 newton meters, and on top of that, this weighs about 6 kgs less. So the performance also is pretty good, and you can feel that acceleration right off the line. It accelerates very quickly, and in terms of top speed, this one also has a significant advantage. And there's a huge, very long track here on this Hero test track, and I tested the bike for a top speed of about 133, 134 kilometers per hour against the wind, and with the wind it went to 137 kilometers per hour on the speedo. So the top speed has a significant advantage. Now, in terms of the cruising speeds, in the sixth gear at 100 kilometers per hour, you'd see about 4000 rpm on the tachometer, and in the sixth gear again, for 120 kilometers per hour, you'll see a little less than 5000 rpm. The limiter cuts in at 7000 rpm. The peak power is produced at 6000, so 1000 clicks above the peak power red line. And in that sense, you can cruise on this motorcycle at about 115, 120. 20 is a little bit of a stress, but 115 is perfectly fine. So a very good cruiser. You can cruise at 100, 110 kilometers per hour all day long. That won't be a problem at all. Now, in terms of the in-gear speeds, the first gear will take you to 51 kilometers per hour. The second gear will take you to 76 kilometers per hour. In the third gear, you would be able to see 100 kilometers per hour on the speedo. In the fourth gear, you'll be able to see 124 kilometers, and it's the fifth gear where you'll see the top speed. I saw the top speed of 137. The sixth gear is basically an overdrive where you will slot the bike in for better fuel efficiency. Now let's come to the chassis and the suspension. And the chassis here is a trellis frame. It's pretty solid. The engine is a stressed member, and there are a few bits here that I want to be very clear. They are not standard. This is an accessory. This crash guard is an accessory. Everything else is stock. All of this you'll get on the top of the line S variant, and there are some really high quality equipment here, so we'll talk about that in a bit. But let's get done with some other specs which you probably would be interested in. 170 mm of ground clearance, which is pretty generous. You can go over bad bumps pretty easily. Now, a lot of you would be wondering about how big this motorcycle is. Now, because of its sporty stance, its Harley-Davidson-ish look, it doesn't look so, but it's a pretty big bike. In terms of its wheelbase, it's longer than the classic 350 by some margin. It's pretty long. Overall length is also pretty long, and this motorcycle is actually quite big. It's one of the biggest in the segment, but not the heaviest. So that's something very important to know about. Unlike a lot of other Harley motorcycles, this doesn't have a feet forward stance. The foot pegs have been slightly rear set, and that really adds to the comfort. The handlebar is very straight. I suspect that this handlebar is shared with the Extreme, and some parts of the switchgear may also have been shared with that for cost cutting. But the stance here is very open chested. The handlebar is very flat, and it makes for a very easy, very comfortable riding stance, although I personally like some weight on my wrists so that the weight is better distributed. But here you will have most of your weight on your behind, and some of it would be on your foot pegs also. But overall, a very comfortable riding stance, and you can ride it for long durations. The seat is good but not great. I also think that the tank scoops could have been better carved out, but overall it's generally a comfortable motorcycle. It should not be too much of a problem if you're going to be riding it over long distances. Now the seat height is 805 mm, and me being 5 feet 10, I can really dig my heels down into the ground. So for the shorter ones amongst you also, it should not be a problem. For putting things in perspective, the classic 350 also has 805 mm of seat height. I really think that the cushioning on the seat could have been a little bit better. Overall, the fit finish of the motorcycle also could have been a little bit better. I really like the fit finish of the Extreme 160R 4V, but here the paint quality and some panels could probably have been a little bit better. I really think that this motorcycle leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of the quality. Now let's talk about the switchgear as well. And here you can see you have this day flasher, and these buttons are essentially for this 3.5-inch color TFT display, and this is the exit button, and you have to long press this button to get into the menu. And now as you can see, you can get into the display where you have the appearance and all of these things that you see: auto, night, day. So if I go to night, it will turn dark, and in day it will turn white. It also comes with a sensor. If I turn it to auto, and if I cover it wherever the sensor is, it will turn dark. It should, it's not right now, but I think there's a sensor somewhere, and if I cover it, it will turn dark. Anyway, you also have this menu where you have all the options. Now if you want to go with the top of the line S variant, you will also get eSIM connectivity, where you have an app and you have a lot of connected features like geofencing and status of the motorcycle check and everything. All of those features you won't get on the base 2 variants. However, all the instrument consoles come equipped with Bluetooth connectivity. You'll get navigation, you'll get music controls, you'll also get call alert, SMS. All of that will be there, but the eSIM connectivity and app-based controls will not be there on the base 2 variant. It will be there only on the top of the line S variant. So that's something very important to know. And in that sense, the features that you see here, navigation, general info, etc., are controllable. You can turn them on and off whether you want to be displayed on the instrument console. This also comes with gear indicator. It also comes with useful things like average fuel efficiency. So all of those things have been covered. It's a very comprehensive instrument console. It gets a tacho. Here you have the speed, you get a gear indicator. So it is a very comprehensive instrument console. So that's a very good thing. You also get this nifty USB socket right under the instrument console. You have these turn indicators here, and you have to cancel it like so. Horn is like this, and here you have the engine kill, start button, hazard lights, and this SOS button that you see here is available only on the top of the line S variant. On the base variants you have a blank here, and once you are connected with a phone and if you are in trouble, you can just press this button and it will send a message to the number that's saved as an emergency contact, and they'll know that you are in some kind of trouble. So this is available only on the top of the line S variant. The tank is 13.5 liters, and this is what it looks like. This is what the key looks like, and everything here, it's a Harley-Davidson, so they have made sure that everything is metal. Like, there's absolutely nothing that's plastic. There's metal everywhere, and despite that, they have managed to make sure that this motorcycle is not as heavy as its other counterparts. Now, the other thing that you would be interested in is how useful is the pillion seat. Now, the pillion seat is not meant for long distances. It's easy to get on. The foot pegs are pretty easy to put your foot on as well. The grab rail is pretty easy to use as well, but this is not a seat which is very comfortable to ride on long distances. All the lighting on this motorcycle is LED. You have LED blinkers, you have LED tail lamp, which looks rather nice. Let me just turn it on and show you. Now the headlight here is special, and I want to make sure that you know all about it. So this is the low beam, This here is the high beam. Low beam has 3 projectors. The high beam doesn't have a projector, and you have this lit DRL with Harley-Davidson emblem. Now this headlight is also special because it comes with an auto function and it's got a light sensor. So if I cover this and the motorcycle is running, the headlight will come on. So basically it will sense the ambient lighting and turn on or off based on what feature you have selected on the instrument console. So the headlight here is pretty special. The mirrors, I think they could have been wider and they are not the best mirrors. Also these cables are not very neatly concealed. I really think that they could have been a little bit better concealed. So there is a whole array of cables going into the instrument console which doesn't look very nice, but overall the motorcycle looks good. It has presence. I'll come to handling in a bit, but let's talk about the suspension bits. It gets a 43 mm KYB upside down fork, big front discs, dual channel ABS. At the rear also you have discs. Front tires are 100 section, rear 140 section. MRF Zapper high tires, very good tires, and if you are someone who wants to be riding like an enthusiast, these tires are very good. So full points to Hero and Harley for providing this motorcycle with the kind of tires that it deserved. The graphics are different on all the motorcycles. On the top of the line motorcycle you get this 3D emblem. There are 3 variants as I mentioned. On the base variant you will not get this 3D emblem. You will get a very basic Harley Davidson marking. You will get spokes. You will not get this. On the mid variant you will not get these machined alloys. You will get just a black set of alloys. And on the top of the line variant you will get this bronze finish on the engine that you're seeing here, as well as the eSIM connectivity and this 3D emblem. So those are the differences between the 3 variants. Now apart from that, I'm pretty sure that you want to know about the exhaust of this motorcycle also. I'm pretty sure you've heard it elsewhere, but let me just fire it up and you can decide for yourself as to how you find it. This is a single, mind you, so it cannot be like a V-twin, and it's not going to sound like a Harley, but I think for a single they have done a pretty good job and it is pretty bassy. So let's fire it up and see how it sounds. What's missing at the rear is that this motorcycle could have had a monoshock, although the twin shock setup with gas chargers that you have here also comes with a 7-step preload adjustability, and it works rather well for what it is. All of that apart, if you put things in perspective, you would realize that the power and the torque and the overall kit on this motorcycle is better than some of the other motorcycles that you have in the segment. And in that sense, it's not just got to do with the engine, which is better. It runs very smoothly. There are no vibes apart from the time when you are near the limiter after 6000 rpm. There are some very mild vibes on the foot peg which you can totally disregard. It's not something worth complaining at all. But more importantly, the engine is very smooth. It has torque at the bottom of the rev range. From 2000 to 3000 rpm there is plenty of tractability. From 3,500 rpm onwards it has a very strong torque which goes all the way to 5,500 6,000 rpm. So very strong mid range as well. You'll love riding this motorcycle in higher gears, and while you're riding, the sound that you'll get from the exhaust is also very nice, very sonorous. The kind of exhaust that you would like from cruiser motorcycles like these. So they have done a good job with that. And in terms of handling, I really think that this probably is one of the best motorcycles in the segment. The handling track here is pretty tight. It has some fast sweeping corners, and this being the kind of motorcycle that it is, I was not very sure whether it will be able to take those kind of corners, but it did splendidly well. Now you have to understand that this is not a sports motorcycle, but they have done a very good job with setting up the suspension. And not just is it reasonably comfortable, it does feel very planted, but when you dip the motorcycle around corners, pick it up back again, although it has some reluctance owing to its weight, it doesn't feel unwieldy at all, and you can have a lot of fun with this motorcycle around a set of twisties. The only restricting factor is the fact that the foot pegs come out, and probably you can see that I have managed to scrape them quite a few times. It's not very difficult to scrape them, especially if it's in dry conditions. So if you're going to be riding hard, tires and the overall setup of the motorcycle is not going to be a problem. The only issue is that the foot pegs will scrape before they should. The motorcycle's chassis and handling and everything is pretty good, and had the foot pegs been a little bit more rear set, we could have managed to lean it harder. And in terms of handling, it's definitely ahead of the classic 350, not just in terms of handling, in terms of performance and straight line stability as well. It will come with a lot of accessories, like you'll get panniers, you'll get a small windscreen. As I mentioned, this sump guard is also an accessory. You'll get custom seats as well. So there's a whole bunch of accessories that you can buy with this motorcycle. And overall, I really believe that this is a very good product in terms of value. I think the pricing is bang on. The base variant is 2.29 lakh rupees. That's the denim variant. The Vivid variant is 2.49 lakh rupees, and the top of the line S variant is 2.69 lakh rupees. And there is a delta over the classic 350, but in terms of the power, I really think that this motorcycle does better, and it's a well-built motorcycle. Doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere, seems like it's going to last, and that's a very good thing. But obviously, only time will tell. Finally, in terms of the variants, there are different colors available on different variants, and I'll just let you know what those are. Now, the denim base variant is available only in one color, that's the mustard denim color. The Vivid is available in two colors, that's metallic thick red and metallic dark silver. And finally, the top of the line X440S, which is this variant, is available only in this color, that's the matte black. The fuel efficiency numbers from ARAI have not been shared, but the internal testing has revealed that 35 kilometers per liter is what Hero or Harley expect from this motorcycle. We will be able to give you a conclusive view on that only when we ride this motorcycle on the road, but 35 is the number that Hero and Harley have given us. In terms of warranty, this comes with a fabulous 5-year standard warranty and 70,000 kilometers. So that is very, very well covered, and that should give you some peace of mind. This motorcycle will be sold through Hero's premium dealerships and through HD dealerships as well, and the pricing makes sure that this is very, very accessible. Overall, a fantastic motorcycle. I really think that in this segment, Hero and Harley have done a commendable job, and of all the motorcycles that you have, this one, especially in the cruiser segment, the air and oil cooled motorcycles, it does make a statement. Even as compared to the Jawa 42 and other Jawa motorcycles which are liquid cooled, this does stand out. So it's a fantastic motorcycle by that measure. The Triumph Speed 400 is coming, but that motorcycle has more power. It'll also have more kit. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be more expensive than this motorcycle. If this ends at about 2.7 lakh rupees, that motorcycle, in my personal belief, will start at about 2.9 lakh rupees. But that motorcycle will have more power and better performance. But if you want to find a good balance between a good brand, good price, good performance and decent handling, this motorcycle does impress. My gripes with this is that the finish and the color, the paint quality could have been a little bit better, and it misses out on some pieces, like it doesn't have adjustable levers. It also misses out on some pieces like ride-by-wire, traction control, ride modes, and as I mentioned, it also gets a wiring which is slightly messy for me. But overall, a fantastic effort by Hero and Harley, and it does come across as a value proposition. And if you're looking for a motorcycle within this price bracket and within this definition of motorcycles, you should most definitely go out and take a test ride. It is a very impressive piece of machinery. I really hope that I was able to answer all your questions about this motorcycle. If you like this review, do hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.